recap, they should be smart goals. You want them to be specific. So what's the specific goal? Close 48 transactions. Measurable, track the 48. How are you going to track those 48? What's your system for tracking them? Are you going to have a track board? Are you going to have a spreadsheet? What are you going to do to track these measurable 48 transactions, or 24, 20, whatever the number is for you? Is 48 reasonable? Is it attainable? I've had a couple conversations in the last couple of weeks with agents from my office, from the company, saying, hey, is this reasonable? Is this attainable? Is it reasonable to expect a 20% increase or a 25% increase? Well, it depends upon you, your time of length in the business, your sphere of influence, the market conditions, which is the relevancy. So is 48 reasonable, and does it fit the market? So having those conversations with yourself, with your manager, with me, with a colleague, is this goal attainable? Is it relevant? Always try and bounce a goal off of somebody so that you have this ideal conversation, or idea conversation, I should say, with someone who can give you a different perspective, an outside perspective. Is it reasonable? I had a one-on-one conversation with one of my agents yesterday, and just talking through the goals, talking through the numbers. What was being said was not what was matching on the paper. Once we talked through it, everything came into alignment, and I think she's in a good place this morning from that perspective of just, is it measurable? Is it attainable? Is it relevant? And going forward from there. So those are the things you guys want to make sure you're looking at, and then making it a time-based. I want to close 48 transactions by 12/15/21. And I usually say 12/31, but if after the last class, there were a lot of people that were saying by 11/30/21 they wanted to complete those goals, which I thought was fantastic. So I just changed this here from a visual perspective. So by 12/15/21 to achieve that 48. You can set it whatever you want. If you think the 31st is what it should be, great. If you think it's November 30th, that's fantastic. Just work on those goals, being specific, being measurable, being attainable, being relevant, and being time-based. All right, I'll stop here, pause real quick. If anybody has, I know we're gonna have a big question and answer session. I don't know if anybody has any quick questions as to this piece. We can go ahead and take them now. All right, seeing none, hearing none, I will go on. All right, finances. You need to have a personal budget, and you need to have a business budget. So hopefully you started to work on those budgets before the last class. If not, hopefully you've been working on them now. If you haven't, it's never too late to start. So working on that personal budget and that business budget. And in the business budget, I put in two subcategories to make sure you don't forget that you have the cost of business, the cost of doing business, taking pictures, doing your advertising and marketing is a little bit separate than your cost of business. Cost of business might be having a sign installed, or having a lockbox installed, or taking somebody out to lunch or dinner, or your flyers that you're mailing out for your items of value, for if you're doing a Buffini system or a Ferry system, any type of money that is not directly related to a listing. That would be your cost of business. Your marketing and advertising would be your listing directed plans. So just to give you a little bit of separation in there, to think about that during your business budget. All right. Next, the tools. What tools are you using? Are you using software such as Town Central, like I showed last time, to maintain, to manage those transactions, those deals, those listings, those sales? Do you have a CRM? What are you using for CRM? Something like Buffini, Top Producer, or any other ones. Do you have a CRM that you're using to maintain and manage your database? Are you using paper? Are you using something from the Resource Center, like I gave out last time, again attached this time? Are you using vision boards, like Deanna had said, or something tangible like I had suggested Dulcie could use for the school, the teddy bear or something like that, or other tools you might use? That's good, and we're going to talk about those, and you can share those if people have questions as we get to the question and answer section. So you have your tools that you might be using as well. All right, schedules. The yearly schedule, the monthly schedule, the weekly schedule, the daily schedule. I'm going to stop sharing this because I do have a couple of examples I want to pull up. All right. Let's see if I can find them here. Let me do desktop. This right here. All right, so this here is my big calendar. I sent a number of you had asked for this, so we sent this out. Kimberly mailed them or sent them to your office. If you didn't receive it, or you're desiring one, just send an email to training@bhhstown.com, and Kimberly will get that sent over to you as quickly as possible. So this is mine. I don't usually color code mine, but I went ahead and color coded it for a visual perspective for you all. You can see where I have some notes that are consistent on a regular basis. You can see that yellow looks like days off clearly. So this is my color code system for me. You can use whatever you want, but these are things. Blue are things that are company related. Green are things that are office related. Orange are things that are association related. So that's how I've got mine color coded here. You can color code yours any which way. But my recommendation and suggestion is makes you money should always be green. Anything that makes you money should be green, right? Whatever activities are going to be green activities or money-making activities should be green. Anything that doesn't really make you money should be red or pink or something of that magnitude. Blue, close to green, makes me money, but it's not necessarily my direct source of it. And yellow just kind of stands out, pops out, reminds me to take days off, which I'm not apt to do, as many of you know. So that is the yearly calendar. I then also popped on here a couple of the monthly calendars that I do for myself, just so you guys can see them. Again, I don't usually do much color, but I did put a color one on here just for me to pop out. From a company perspective, that's blue, so you can see I use that same theory here. And then you can see I've got different codings in here. Some of this has got some personal things on here, so but otherwise this is kind of where I'm at for the year. All right, so let me pop out of this one and go over to January, where I did some color coding for you guys, and you can see I put some color coding on here for that. So I've got those different pieces and components for the year. All right. So that was a couple of examples of the yearly and the monthly schedule, weekly schedule, daily schedule. So I put in here, just to recap, you really want to try and have that yearly schedule done by the end of November. Obviously, we're in December. If you haven't done it, that's okay. This is the first time doing it, but next year you want to try and plan for the end of November. One of the other things that I want to say, and I don't remember mentioning it last time, but I know I've had a lot of conversations in my individual one-on-one business plannings with the Norfolk agents. You don't want to refer from a mental standpoint to 2021 as getting started right on 2021. I think from a mental standpoint, from a psychological standpoint, you should be thinking of January, February, March 2021 as the next quarter, right? Just the next quarter, not starting over, not new, not fresh. It's the next quarter. You want to build on what you've been doing for 2020. A lot of agency seeing January as I'm starting from scratch, I'm starting from zero. That's just a mindset and a mentality which will kind of bring you down in a lot of cases. Now, if you're somebody who needs that, that's fine. But I think for a lot of us, for most of us, we should just be looking at it as the next quarter, as the 5th quarter, the 6th quarter, the 7th quarter, the 8th quarter, the 9th quarter. Just keep going quarter by quarter rather than refresh, reset. So hopefully next year, you'll be able to have that big yearly calendar done by November. Then monthly, I always like to try and have mine done by the 25th of the previous month. That way I have a few days just to think about what's going on, if I forgot anything, I missed anything. So I always like to have mine done by the 25th. Doesn't mean it always happens. It's ideal, but if I put it for the 30th or the 31st, it definitely won't be done until the 1st or 2nd into the next month. So I always give myself a little bit of time. I'm realistic with that. I do need a few extra days, depending upon when the 25th is. If it's the middle of the week, I usually work on my calendars on the weekends. I'm gonna have a little down, quiet time. So I'm just trying to be realistic and setting that as a standard for myself. The weekly, I always like to try and finish mine on Friday for the next week, but maybe you're somebody who doesn't like to do that. You want to do Sunday because you got open houses, you've got showing properties, and you think Saturday and Sunday are part of the previous week. That's great. That's okay. So trying to do it Friday or Sunday is what most common occurs. However, I mean, if you're a Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday, Thursday, it doesn't matter. Just be consistent on the day that you're using to have that weekly schedule done. It doesn't really matter one way or the other, but it is definitely helpful to do it on the same day. And then daily, I always like to make sure mine's done before leaving for the day. There's people that like to do it before they crawl into bed. There's people that like to do it first thing in the morning. It doesn't matter. I just put on here before leaving for the day because that's what I do, and I didn't really have much more room. So don't take this to heart that you have to do it before you leave for the day. If that's not you and it's not what works for you, that's okay. These are just suggestions. But what you want to try and do is keep it consistent. You want to keep it as consistent as possible on the day, either before you leave, first thing in the morning, before you go to bed. All right. All right, sales associates. These are 5 characteristics of sales associates because everybody is a sales associate, whether you like it or not. That's your term. That's your name for this class. So I have 5 functions of a sales associate, or 5 characteristics. And if you look at them, you have OFFER, offer, right? So we're in sales. We're doing offers. It's an offer to rent, an offer to sell, an offer to purchase. It's offers. So the 5 qualities of sales associates: you need to be optimistic. You have to be optimist. If you're a pessimist, it's not necessarily going to be a great opportunity for you for success in sales. Optimism is always going to lead to positivity. The silver lining. Where's the trick? Where's the opportunity? I was just having a conversation late yesterday with somebody about 1 in 20. You know, the 1 in 20. That's the optimistic, right? You only got to find the 1. You don't have to worry about the 19 no's. You're looking for the 1 yes. So if I'm looking for 1 yes and 20, it's more palatable than saying, oh, I got to deal with 19 no's. Who cares about the 19 no's? We're being the optimist. We're just looking for the 1 yes and 20. So that's what we're looking for, the 1 yes. Being focused on what we're trying to do, focused on what we're trying to accomplish. That's why we build these schedules. That's why we build these business plans, because it helps us be focused. It helps us give us an idea and a context for our day. It helps us make decisions based on what we're doing. Somebody suggested last time that you could do business planning, or you can do scheduling for diets, goals for diets. Absolutely. If you have a weight loss goal, or you have a weight gain goal, or you have a physical goal, and you're getting ready to eat the 2nd or 3rd or 4th piece of pumpkin pie or apple pie at Christmas, you're like, I'm trying to lose weight and there's X amount of calories in this pie. Do I really need the 4th piece of pie? Or, you know, how we overdo it at times. So when you put it into writing, you create a focus for yourself. So looking at that focus. The fundamentals, the fundamental or fundamentals. What are the fundamentals of our business, of our job? I think the fundamentals start with a pen and paper, writing a contract, doing a CMA, knowing the contract. So knowing what your fundamentals for your business are. We are helping people buy and sell houses. So what are the fundamentals of real estate? So that's part of what defines you as a sales associate. Having empathy, not necessarily sympathy, but empathy, understanding, having compassion for somebody. Being a good sales associate is having empathy, understanding that people are having trouble, having difficulties, having successes. So having empathy. And then being responsible. Responsibility. It is our responsibility to be caretakers, caregivers of the sale, whether it's the seller, the buyer, the landlord, the tenant. We have a responsibility to the client, to the customer. We have a responsibility to be a good sales associate, to control our emotions, control our feelings, and be the business person that has been hired to help facilitate this transaction, whichever way it is, whether it's in a lease, whether it's in a property management agreement, whether it's in a sales contract, whether it's in a listing agreement, whether it's in a buyer counseling agreement. We have a responsibility to those people. All right, I'm going to stop there. Ask anybody if they have any quick questions, because I did go over some new material there with the sales associate. Does anybody have any questions on any of that? All right. So I know everybody is going to be very excited. I know everyone's excited. You got your pens ready, your pencils ready. You've got your screenshot button ready, because I am now going to reveal to you the perfect plan. This is what everybody who's been here. This is what's going to make me $1 million, $1 billion, I think. I think I'm going to become the richest man in the world. I'm going to become the next Amazon, Zappos, Bill Gates, because I have come up with the perfect plan. So next slide. Oh, slide doesn't exist. That's a tough one there. Yeah, there's no perfect plan, y'all. I'm sorry. There's no perfect plan. We can want, we can desire, but there is not a perfect plan any way, shape, or form. It just doesn't exist. So what I want to talk about here with the perfect plan is what we're going to be talking about if you choose to be part of the monthly group going forward of the perfect plan. The first thing is we're always going to have a topic, an idea that we're going to have a conversation about as a large group before we break into our small groups, or you do your small groups on your own. So the perfect plan, there is no such thing as a perfect plan. Yes, I'm reading you those things which you are capable of reading, because I want to reiterate it. There's no such thing as the perfect plan. John, I see you're on the call, and I'm drawing a blank. If you know the person's name, that would be great, or anybody that knows it. I believe they were with VAR years ago, but they used to say the phrase, the ready, aim, fire. Their phrase was fire, ready, aim. Just fire. Just get started. Just get started and then go from there. Because if you're trying to build the perfect plan, it's never going to happen, and you'll never initiate, you'll never start, you'll never get moving. So don't worry about the perfect plan, because there's only imperfect, but there are good plans. So perfectly imperfect is fine. There's no issue with anything other than perfectly imperfect. Just start that plan, build that plan, get going with it. If you're waiting for perfection, it is never going to happen. It's just not going to happen. You're just going to spend time, money, resources trying to develop a perfect plan that just doesn't exist. As you build the plan, things change, classes change, people change, times change. We'll never be able to create anything. We're just going to waste time, effort, energy, resources trying to come up with a perfect plan. Work with what you have, right? Just work with what you have. I've given you some tools. If you don't like them, that's fine. Start with them and then develop over the course of the year the plan that works for you, the tool that works for you. Make them timely, be smart about them. Just get them going, use them, start, develop, grow, move forward. This is not about being perfect. This is not about perfection. This is not about searching for that unicorn that's out there. You just take a chance and you just go for it, right? It doesn't exist, because it's what you make of it for you to do what you're trying to do in life. So don't worry about the perfect plan. Just worry about executing your plan. All right. Any questions on this? Any questions? All right. So our next meeting is going to be January 20th for those of you that would like to continue. So if you are interested in continuing and you want to be part of small accountability groups, probably 3 or 4 people in that, then shoot an email to training@BHHS-Town. We'll figure out what your goals are and get you matched up with people that have the similar goals to you and what you're trying to accomplish, whether it's goals by contacts, goals by units. That's where we'll go from there. So now, if you're interested, again, shoot an email. We'll have that January 20th. This is not going to be advertised. It won't be on the training calendar. This is strictly for you, the groups, the people that are here. Now, if you do talk to any colleagues, certainly you're welcome to invite them. There's not going to be any replay of that previous class, so you'll have to fill them in, catch them up with any of the information. Certainly send me an email and I'll happily send the tools to them. But that's that'll be just up to you guys. All right.
I have one question.
Sure.
But I didn't want to ask because it was basically me not being able to hear because my Zoom was cutting out. On your big calendar,
Yes.
I know you color coded it and stuff. So if I shoot you an email, can you don't have to do it here, but let me know what your key was for how you did? Because I looked at that big calendar and I was like, I don't know how the heck I'm going to use this thing. So
yeah, let me pull it up. I'm sure you're not the only one that's having that question. That's not an issue.
But I don't want to hold everybody up because that's really just.
Anybody that doesn't want to stay, you can jump off because all I'm going to do now is answer specific questions for agents that have them. So if you have questions, stay on. If you don't have questions and you don't want to see other people's questions, you can jump off, shoot an email to training, and you can then be included in the future classes sessions. Again, they're only going to be 15 to 30 minutes. This one might go 45 with some questions and answers. So it is meant for accountability. It is meant for structure. It's meant to give you some tips, but it is not meant to be a big, long production. So let me see here, Jennifer.
Hey, Tim, I really do love that big calendar.
Okay,
I've never seen one of those before. It's really helpful.
Great, thanks, John. If you need one, we can certainly send some over to the office if you need them, or actually you can have Ralston just make them and send how many ever you need to your office because we're probably getting a little low by now over here. All right, Jennifer, can you see the screen?
I can, thank you.
Okay, so in this case, I've put X's on days off, and then I've highlighted them in yellow, because those are what I'm intending for me to go away in some way, shape, or form, where I'm going to turn off my phone, right? So my intent is to have a manager cover me, like John or America or Jay or Tanya or Barbara. We cover for each other when we just want to turn our phones off and we want to decompress. And when you guys need help, we don't want to leave you without a manager to answer questions. So for me, the yellow is those days where I want to turn my phone off. Now, I'm not going to promise you that's going to happen, but that's the ideal. That's the ideal schedule. Things will change. Like take, for example, down here, Thanksgiving, I've blocked off.
Hey, off for a week on Thanksgiving because that's impressive.
Well, I was just going to say the reason I've got a week off for Thanksgiving is my parents' 50th anniversary was this past Thanksgiving, and we
You froze on mine. Did you freeze on anybody else's?
We lost you, Tim.
Okay.
Yeah, he's frozen. He's frozen.
Okay.
Did I freeze? Yep.
Now you froze.
Now
you're back.
Okay. So the Thanksgiving, I was telling everybody my parents' 50th anniversary was this Thanksgiving. So there were supposed to be 20 of us going away on a cruise. That's why I have next Thanksgiving blocked off, is we're going to try and go on that cruise next Thanksgiving.
Gotcha.
So yeah, that's that. Now green, I've used green for money making. So in here you can see a little pencil mark that says one-on-one. On Tuesdays, I do one-on-one with my agents in my office that I have accountability and business planning with. And I have about 10 or 11 agents that I do that with. So that's why it's green, because agents are what make us money. So those are my one-on-ones. I have over here on this let me see if I can do this here. So this right here, the second Wednesday of the month, that's sales meeting month. So I've kind of got that blocked off. I got the SM there. So green is anything that's making me money for the office. Blue, I've written down blitz because that's training for the company. So we do the blitzes on the second Thursday and Friday of the month. So I've got that kind of half day kind of blocked off. You can also see where I've got some other trainings, Newtown Mortgage, and then a manager's tech hour that we have for just the managers on the first Friday of the month. And then I've blocked off CE classes over here. Then I've used orange for my association, for Hurrah, VAR. When I'm doing association work, I've blocked those dates off with orange. So that's how I've kind of come up with my color coding. I first started with pencils going in and Xing off. So that's where that kind of starts from. Is that
Okay.
helpful?
Yes, sir. Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.